Hey guys, real quick before we start this episode, I just wanted to give a quick thanks to everyone in the community who helps support us, who watches our content, and you really help us grow, and we really appreciate that. 2016 was great. 2017 will be even better. So enjoy this episode. Thanks. Guys, welcome to episode, what is it now, Zilly? Is it 19? It's 18.
19.
No, it's 18.
All right, 18. I think it's 19.
It's episode 18. Because we did that one half episode that one time.
Oh, that's cheating.
That got us off. But yeah, anyways, guys, welcome to episode 18 of the Dank Shrine. We have a very interesting guest with us today. Just coming from, I would say, a pretty impressive run at cheesadelphia, just based on that bracket. We have Raze. Raze, what's up, buddy?
Up? Yeah, I was really happy with how that tournament went. Really fun. There was a ton of upsets in that tournament, like kind of myself included.
Hey now.
Like people were beating established players left and right. It's kind of weird.
None of that. It was meant to be. And thanks for coming on, man. We really appreciate it. And we're looking forward to getting back into the groove after a little bit of a long break. And yeah, how was the Christmas, holidays, New Year all for you guys?
It was pretty decent. Went down to New Orleans, did some shit, saw some things. Down on Bourbon Street. How was what?
Frenchman.
Frenchman? There was no Frenchman.
No Frenchman, huh?
No, we went down to the Cat's Meow. I sung some karaoke. It was pretty good. Typical made a drunk ass of myself. It was fun.
Wait, they have karaoke there?
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
And then I spent New Year's in Memphis. Got some really dank barbecue when I was in Memphis. Let me tell you, that was some of the best barbecue I've had in my life. And then came back to the fucking bitter cold that is Minnesota. So yeah. What about you guys?
I finished finals 3 days before Christmas and kind of completely forgot that that was a thing. So I was emerging from a bomb shelter and opening my eyes and being like, oh, wow.
What is this?
Yeah, so my break is super late, so I still have another week and then I'm back at school.
Legit.
Yeah, and then mine was I finished all my December with moving, and then it was the Christmas break with the family, which was nice. Got to do all that, and then spent the New Year in the state of Oregon. I thought I was in Oregon, but apparently I went a little bit too far and moved to Alaska because there's more snow on the ground than apparently has ever happened here before. And and I decided to move into a place with a very long driveway. I didn't really think about that at the time, but
you need to get a fucking snowblower.
Really bad choice. Yeah, my ass is worn out driving that damn shoveling that driveway out. Let me tell you. Rough.
At this point I've already given up on the driveway, and all I'm doing is doing the walkway and the sidewalk because that's what the city makes me do. So I've already given up. But fuck it.
Wait, the city makes you do your sidewalk?
Yeah, you have to, man. If someone slips on it, you're liable. So you gotta salt it and shovel it. So
that's weird.
Yeah, no, you gotta be careful.
Well, see, so there's two things you could do there, right? You could either shovel your own driveway, or you could be that guy that walks around and tries to slip on everyone else's driveway.
Slipping Jimmy, man, I could do that. I could be full-time esports now if I just if I followed that advice.
Yeah, man, that's the job I was telling you guys I want in the future.
I have a hard time doing shit like that. Unfortunately, I'm too good a person. Jay, you probably didn't hear the story, but what was it? 2 episodes ago, I had a dude get shot outside my house.
Oh yeah.
In a drive-by, and he was bleeding out, and I had to help him until the ambulance got there. I had his blood all over me. It was crazy.
Wow.
And he had
he was sound like you're a hero. He was in a stolen car with a sawed-off shotgun.
He wasn't innocent. I didn't say he was innocent, but he was dying.
It's still a good thing to do without knowing the situation, for sure.
Jay's I was born in West Philadelphia, born and raised, and we don't do that shit out there. Let me tell you.
Yeah, go to school in Temple. If you hear gunshots, it's not exactly out of the norm, but you don't go rushing out to see what's going on.
No, you go the other way. You fucking get the fuck out of there. Right. Yeah. All right. Well, let's bring it back in. Let's do some little StarCraft talk here.
Hey, before we start, let's just say, man, we're back into the groove, so we'll be a weekly show again. So anybody who's joining us for the live stream or just checking out the VOD or whatever on YouTube, we'll be doing this every week, Wednesdays at this time, whatever time it is for you across the world.
Yep, same time every week, every Wednesday. We do already have next week's guest lined up, which is really cool because I was scrambling to get one, and I put a bunch of feelers out, and no one got back to me, and then finally everyone got back to me. So next week is actually gonna be Zombie Grub, and she's gonna kind of be telling us about how Nation Wars and how kind of producing that and casting for that was. So that'll be a cool episode as well. I've also, just to remind everyone that we're now part of Polygon Gaming, which is really cool. So big shout outs to those guys for the help and support they're giving us. And then also we have one new thing. If you scroll to the bottom of the channel, you'll see that there is now an option to purchase some swag of the Dank Shrine. So basically what that is, we don't have a sub button. Obviously, we're not popular enough for that, but we've had a couple people ask about supporting us, and I feel like this is the best way to do it, honestly, because that way you get something out of it. It's not just like take my money, like you're at least getting something back. So if you want to, cool. If you don't, I'm not worried about it, but it's there as an option, which is cool.
It's a cool logo.
Yeah.
Props to Albatross.
Yeah, definitely. I like the logo. But yeah, man, let's get into it. So you're coming off of, like we talked about, you're coming off of a good showing here at Cheesadelphia 4. When you looked at that bracket, like originally, like when you first got there, right? Who were you kind of worried of? Like, who were you like, okay, like I don't want to, who did you not want to play?
From when I got into the venue, like the people I'm most worried about would be Jon Snow and Massa. Massa's like obviously historically very good, been around forever. Jon Snow's steadily improving and is still like already at a crazy high level. And then like by the second day, I was starting to get really worried about Suppy too, because like this is his third Cheesadelphia in a row, and like the first one I beat him 2-1, second one I lost 0-2, and then this time I like lost him 1-3. Right. So it's like he's been, because he doesn't really like play the game much because he's in med school and he's got a fiance.
Right. Like, he's got some other stuff.
So yeah, so it's like it's hard to tell his form like when he's coming in. But after he beat Epic 2-1 and just like completely straight up games, and Epic's got like really good TPZ, I was like, whoa, this is scary.
Yeah. No, he had some good games. Dude, you had some amazing games because you didn't lose a game until you played Suppy, right? Like you were undefeated up until that point.
Yeah, I hadn't dropped him up until that point, which again, like I had avoided like some really hard players, but like my bracket wasn't the easiest.
Were you worried about like mechanic at all?
Yeah, I mean, like we usually go like kind of 50-50 on ladder, I guess. I usually do like really well on tournament settings, though. I'm not actually sure if that's because like I play better on stage or if other people play worse or what. Sure. But like,
well, that was his first LAN, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, okay. First one he's ever been to.
So I mean, that kind of I definitely know that does play into it, like playing in front of people like that, and especially like not having like all your creature comforts like around you and stuff. Like when I play, like I have like a little heater and stuff, like keeps my hands warm and stuff. Like you can put your headset on, you're in your little bubble. But,
I mean, all those little things, just like where you have your keyboard at, it makes a difference. Plus, just being not in your having other people look at you and feeling the pressure. We talk about it a lot with the bigger tournaments, so.
He did manage to produce like the single-handedly most entertaining series of the tournament, though, which was him versus Printf. If any of you guys caught that.
Yeah, what's the deal with that guy? I never heard of him.
Oh, Printf exclusively cannon rushes. Like it's great. Okay. He's got a whole spreadsheet where he records every single game that he ever plays and like what kind of cannon rush he does and whether it worked and what map it was and who it was against. It's amazing.
He's trying to be the best cannon rusher there ever was. It's like Maximus Black. Like he used to cannon rush all the fucking time.
Yeah, so we ran into a situation where Canning decided he was going to counter it by doing his own cannons. So it was 3 games in a row of like cannon versus cannon with cannons everywhere, and it was beautiful.
What a meme! Cannon versus cannon, huh?
That's like the first time I played Pili Pili. I decided I was going to cannon rush him because I was like, like my only chance to win because like I'm diamond, right? I was like, that's my only chance. And like I'm looking at my base, I'm like, oh fuck, you cannon rush me back, and it was way better. I'm done. I was like, well, that was fun. Like, there's like my 2 seconds because I think that game was streamed too, and I was like, well, this was fucking embarrassing. Like, lost within like the first like 30 seconds of a game, but it is what it is, But yeah, like, what else can you tell us like from the LAN and stuff? Like, I know that's been going on. Like, and have you been to all 4?
Well, there's actually been 5 because there's like one between 3 and 4. That was like a smaller one.
3.5.
Yeah, so I've been to every single one. Because like I go to school like a 10-minute walk away. Right. It's a ton of fun, and like it's really cool to see how it's developed like since the inception. I know Joe, the guy that runs it, actually put a picture out like just comparing the production value from their first Cheesadelphia to the most recent one. Yeah. And it's like really, really cool.
Yeah, I should do something like that for the show because like our first episode is like fucking horrendous. Like the quality, the overlays, like oh man, it's
great.
I want to record each one and just like show the progression to where we've gotten now, and how much better it is compared to what it was. But speaking of bigger and better things, so now you're part of Sloth Esports, right? You're now the captain of, and I'm sorry, it's Esports Club, Sloth Esports Club.
Yes, Sloth Esports Club.
Perfect, nailed it.
As we can see right there, huh?
Yeah, let's rip the logo.
These
there.
jackets are actually awesome.
Dude, that looks legit. Like, I'm gonna have to get one. Like, it looks comfy. Like, I love the logo, and I have to say, during Cheesadelphia, I love like the commercials where it's like just like the sloth like eating a banana and like lettuce and shit. I'm like, oh my god, like how could I not love like fucking watch this? I can watch that all day. So now that you guys have been, because he was Team Ascension Pro, now you've been fully enveloped by Sloth Esports to become this new organization. So, what do you like? Was there an immediate change? Like, what was the vibe like once you guys had the transition?
Basically, like anytime you go through a major revamp type thing like that, everyone gets kind of like hyped up for a little while. I'm really hoping it lasts because we're in a good spot now where we like trimmed down the roster a bit. Everyone that's still there is like super focused, super like intense, ready to go. So I'm hoping that stays around. We can all stay focused on things.
Do you know offhand, and maybe I could have already asked you this, I don't remember. Do you know, are you sending anyone to Midwest LAN?
We haven't talked about that in particular yet. We've been more focused on like dream hacks and stuff like that.
Right, definitely, I understand. But I guess that would be a bit better one maybe for like some of the B teamers, like to get some more experience.
The thing is, like, we have a couple players that live near there, so like they'll assumably be out there.
I'll be out there. That's why I'm asking too.
I don't know how many people we're going to be able to have there.
Yeah. So that's cool though. It's a cool organization. I mean, we want to support grassroots esports as much as DreamHack and everything else. So
So I want to kind of bring it back for people who don't know about you as a player. We just talked about your results at the last Cheesadelphia, but what was your experience with StarCraft? When did you start playing it, and how'd you get involved with the team? All that business.
Yeah, so I started playing. I played like a little bit of Brood War with like my friends. I did the kind of thing where like you don't have any idea what you're doing at all. You're just like sitting there, like build a marine every couple of minutes. I still do that. Like that. So
that's the way to play Brood War, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I played like a little bit of big game hunters, that type of thing, and then when StarCraft 2 came out, I was like super excited, like ready to play the campaign, and so I got that. And like for the first like year and a half, 2 years, I like only played team games. That was my thing. I like not having responsibility and like being able to do whatever I wanted.
Maybe some Nexus Wars and stuff.
Yeah, stuff like that. And then after a while, like I kind of like played ones for a while, and then I started like playing that more. Got up to like Diamond League without like I wasn't really putting too much like thought into the game. I kind of just did my own thing and like played how I wanted to. And then I was Diamond for like a year and a half, and then I forget what sparked it, but like I started actually like looking up pro builds, like watching replays, like really paying attention during tournaments, not just watching them for entertainment value. And about a year and a half after that, I was like mid GM, and I joined Team Ascension when I was Diamond, and like. So I went in that team. I went from like Diamond to like high GM over the course of like 2 years, and so that's actually been really cool because I've been with them for like a long time and I've changed a lot in that time. So
has your hair just got like cooler and cooler like as time has gone on?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, and that's been more like the past year thing. Before that, I just kind of like let it go.
That's the esports hair, man. Like once everyone gets on camera, it's like they just have like the most immaculate hair. Like you gotta have a good fresh cut.
Well, it's kind of weird though, right? Because like in the West, like everyone styles their hair up, whereas all the Koreans just like have it down, and like I mean, they still like style it, but it's like it's always like down into the side.
Yeah, you gotta get some chops going with that though.
Chops, yeah. That's exactly what we need.
Oh man, for sure, man. Hey, so what do you think about Legacy right now? Thoughts about the new rendition of the game with the most recent patch in particular, as a Terran player in specifics.
I'm kind of like a weird case because I like when the metagame's like stale. I like when the games are all really predictable and I can see what I'm doing, just because like that really helps me like make tiny adjustments and like prepare specifically for things and like not have to be super caught off guard when my opponent does something. Like I like being able to scout something and knowing exactly what they're going to be doing 10 minutes down the line. So like it ended up working out for me though, because this patch brings it more back towards Heart of the Swarm, which I always kind of like the metagame for that. The one thing I really don't like is the tank evac change, though, just because that kind of made TVT into like a mashup that goes entirely back to Doom drops now. Because before it was like, if your opponent Doom drops your main, you just drop your own tanks there, and you can get like a good engagement with like, because he's kind of like trapped behind your barracks. and then he has to like, and then he can pull up and go away, and he still has all his tanks, and you still have all your tanks, and it's like there's kind of some skirmishes, but nothing really lost. Whereas now it's like your opponent doom drops your main, and like if you don't have units right there, right then, chances are you're just dead.
Right.
Or like you get caught in the middle of the map sieging your tanks, you can't run away with them, you're just dead.
Well, it's funny because that's what I always heard the big complaint about TVT is with the tank evac doom drop, but now people are just dropping them on siege. So I don't know. It seems like the problem's still there. I agree with you. I really miss the tank evac. What do you think about some other changes? Have you seen any of the Blink DT builds after the most recent GSL? Or
yeah, that was really
nightmare
cool to
build.
see. I'm not sure if how much that's going to stay around as like a actual strategy and like something you can weave into your gameplay more than just like a very like niche corner all in. It'd be really cool if like people can bring that into use as a harassment tool, but I think for most players it's a bit too far out of the way in the tech tree for like what they want to be doing most games.
I take it you're not a battle cruiser kind of guy.
No, I didn't really mess around with them much. I know like there was a point in time where like so many Terrans after like the Baneling buff were like, oh, I can't go 2-1 anymore. Like Zerg's just too good mid game, so they're opening like 2 base battle cruisers every game because you just like attack with it, let it get really low, blink it back, heal, go again. I think that's mainly like died down though. I think people just got a bit too good at defending it. And then, of course, TLO came up with the idea of getting Overlord drops to dodge the Yamato cannon and the Queens. You just lift them up, and the Yamato misses.
Yeah, very creative, huh?
I was gonna say, who's everyone doing battle cruisers? Like just Nate and Navilo?
No, it was like who was it? Euthermal was doing that like almost every game.
Euthermal has always played a little bit different than everyone else, though. He's kind of more like that innovator. You know, like always coming up with like different stuff. Same with like TLO for sure. So who are you like the biggest fan of? Speaking of like foreigners and stuff, like who's like your favorite Korean player and who's like your favorite foreign player?
My favorite Korean player, like of all time, would be Taysha. Recently though, I really like the way TY plays. I really like the way that like, and then I kind of like Beyond an Innovation simply because they tend to do the same exact thing every single game, which means that like you watch the VOD and like sure it's not like super exciting, but you can see like, okay, when his opponent does this, he responds by doing something else. When he does this, he changes this. So it's like really easy to learn from them.
Right.
And then Tasia was just like, he played a lot different from the other Terrans at the time. He'd be like pretty defensive, and he'd always like, he wouldn't do the thing where you're like always 3-base all in every single game as Terran, which kind of got old.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Any guys you like that are other races?
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Snoot just because like he's got the
everyone loves Snoot. I mean, that's just a thing.
There you go.
Same thing with Dario. Like everyone just loves Dr. Dario. Doing my best Rotterdam impression. Shit. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much all we had for like our little interview section of the show. Did you want to go over? I know we kind of have the cheesadelphia bracket, so we kind of went over, you know, that you had went undefeated until Suppy, and you've kind of traded games back and forth with him for a while. I think one of the best games that you had though was your 2-0 versus Semper, and I think how did you feel like at that point?
Like going into that day of the tournament, he had already lost to EJK in group stage, and I usually feel pretty confident versus EJK, and like. TVT, like, because of the Cyclone change, TVT went through a massive overhaul. Like, you'd think the 2 range wouldn't matter that much, but it basically means that, like, the Cyclones can kill Reapers pretty easily. Reapers can't really run away from them. And it's also, like, if you try to, like, siege a tank and it's sieging, the Cyclones can run up the ramp and kill it, even if behind a bunker or something. So, because of that, I kind of developed my own particular build that now, like, a lot of people on NA are adopting, where it runs counter to the Korean builds because basically they open with like 1 Cyclone and a couple Reapers, and this you just keep making you go up to 2 Cyclones, 4 Reapers, a Hellion, and the Landed Viking. So it's supposed to like maximize your damage potential while they're building add-ons, and like that enabled me to just get really ahead the first game, and then like the second game I just did we both opened double Raven. The difference was he used his auto turrets to harass me. And then I just saved all mine, and then I just went across the map, and I was down like 10 SCVs, but then I killed like 30 just because you can't fight auto turrets without auto turrets in the current meta.
Yeah.
Ravens are just like really good.
Super strong, huh?
Yeah.
Um, but then after you had beat him, you must have been on a pretty high note. And I mean, knowing that he's like beat Zest like in Nation Wars, I mean that's like, I mean obviously like that's not the same race, but like you've beat someone who's beat one of the very best players in
Means
the
I'm
world,
better
like
than Zest, right?
by
Transitive from
association, absolutely, like 100%. You know, just like if I
Yeah, I
cheese
mean,
you out in a game, like I'm clearly like the greatest.
There you go.
like he's talked about how his TVT is like by far his weakest matchup, and he's like really good in TVP. So like I kind of felt going into it that I had like a good chance, and then the games just ended up working out exactly as I wanted them to. So that was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty impressive performance. And then what do you think about that game? We were talking about Suppy and, that he's a pretty busy guy with school, med school, and all that business. And, what do you think about those games?
I thought like I actually spent a lot of time planning out that series because I felt like I couldn't beat him in just like a completely straight up like 2-on-1 versus like 3-hatch Zerg game. So I like planned in like a lot of like mind game builds and stuff like that. And like the builds all worked out kind of the way I wanted them to. It's just that like I because the first three all three of the first games I was in really good positions. It's just the first and third game there were like some key mistakes that I made that like let him get back into it and then take the game. So like if I had played out of my mind good, like I could have won that series 3-0. Like, but of course you can always look back and say like, oh, I made this mistake, this mistake. And so it's difficult to go from that to like, oh, I should have won the game. They weren't like massive throws by any means, but like I had like a lead I could work with.
Yeah, it was a really strong performance by you. And I think the other big, like you said, Suppy, but Jon Snow dropping one
Yeah.
map out over the course of the whole thing, that was really, really impressive. And I think we all know what a great player, he is, but that was really strong. And I think it's cool to see him doing that in a live setting too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like going into the tournament, like the big question mark was Semper. I mean, not Semper, Masa, because like no one really knew how much he had been playing, like, or how well he was doing. Like, I think he was like tops. He was like a 16 or ranked 16 or 17 on European ladder at the time, but no one knew like how much he was actually playing. And even the first day of the tournament, he was only laddering as Protoss, like, which was kind of funny. But and playing Overwatch. So then like and he got like the easiest bracket by far going into the playoffs. Like he in groups and in playoffs, he didn't play anyone that like you would normally think could challenge him. So then his first tough match was Jon Snow, and we were all like kind of waiting, like seeing what would happen.
Yeah.
And like it was 3 games where like he played pretty well, and you could say he was ahead at certain points, but like Jon Snow just outclassed him.
Yeah, it was a really impressive performance by him.
He's been playing, pretty out of his mind himself lately too. 2-0 Penguin, 2-0 Dolan, which is it's not that big, but Dolan's pretty good, and then 3-0 Masa though. I mean it's pretty impressive. I think that's obviously for Systrom Gaming. Congrats to them for picking up such a a nice talent. But just more competition for you though, right? I mean that's just it gives you more drive to beat him though. You want to.
It's like at these East Coast events, it tends to be like the same group of us going to most of them. Like the cheesadelphia, the Systrom Cups, even like DreamHack Montreal. It's like a lot of the same people. So it's really cool because we always get to like play against each other, see who's better at like any given tournament.
I'm lonely up here. The only other player that's up here is Puck, and he does not hang out with me, surprisingly.
He's hung out with us once, come on.
Yeah, on the show. But no, the scene up here is just like non-existent. Like we're trying our best to like do like Midwest like base things. Obviously, we were talking about like Midwest land. We're trying our best, but like it's not looking good. But I might just have to move out there to the East Coast and work out there. Might be a little bit better. Who knows? But yeah, man. Like again, congrats on Cheese, and then congrats with the Sloth Esports Club. I mean, I think that's pretty awesome. I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of moving, let's move on to the next segment and move to the global scene with the Nation Wars.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about Nation Wars. So for our for the round of 4 now, we're left with Poland, Canada, Germany, and South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
All they're pretty strong contenders. I don't know. I think Poland and Canada is probably like.
That's gonna be I think that's gonna be a super close match.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I think Poland has better players like overall, I think that's the thing. I think that's what it'll come down to. No disrespect to the guys that are on that team. I mean, obviously, it's like Scarlett's a god. Like, no regrets, can cheese the hell out of pretty much anyone, you know, and Semper's been playing really good lately. But, you know, like, I just think when it comes to Poland, like, all they're really worried about is Scarlett.
Oh yeah. I think Poland's definitely the favorite in that series, but like Scarlett hasn't dropped a map yet in Nation Wars. She's looked just like absurdly good. And I think like it definitely could go Canada's way. I think ideal for them would be it's Hearthstone that's the Protoss on Poland, right?
What's that?
Oh no,
I think so.
not
No.
Hearthstone. Wait, who's on?
I think he was on the Netherlands,
Hearthstone's
right?
in the Netherlands.
Yeah, it's it's Mana. Mana's the Protoss on
Mana.
Poland.
Yep.
I'm thinking like ideal would be like for Canada getting Semper against Mana because Semper is really good versus Protoss, and then like maybe no regret can cheese out like a laser or something, and then Scarlet just like wipes the floor with the rest of them. But like it could go either way.
Yeah.
Like
no, keep going.
if any of them has like a good day, it could just roll over the other. Like I want to see it come down to Nurchio Scarlet and see them like battle it out.
Yeah, for sure. I think I like Poland there. It seems like the teams that have made it through this far have the better, deeper roster compared to some of these teams that have like one really good player. You know, we're talking about like USA, Norway.
Mm-hmm.
I think Poland's roster is super deep versus that just one really good player we have with Scarlet.
Yeah, I think that's the major difference. Like, I think Poland and South Korea both are like have the more depth, and Germany and Canada are just like single player. Like, Germany versus South Korea, I think is just solely going to come down to whether Showtime has like a really good day or not.
Yeah, it's always tough too. We talk about like how the time zone thing is really difficult for South Korea. What time they play these games is a big factor.
Yeah, it's like they seem like they keep having these like narrow series, and it's like in like the previous year it was South Korea's team was more of like a fan favorite thing than like a top player thing. But this year it's like these are like three like top Koreans. Like you'd think they wouldn't have dropped the map yet, but
did they?
I'm pretty close. Yeah, they lost to they dropped two maps against what was that, Czech Republic, because there's the Talk guy that
that's right.
Yeah. And then they also lost a series to they also got 4-1 by Canada because Semper beat Zest, Beyond beat Semper, and then Scarlet beat Beyond Innovation and then Beyond.
Yeah, they had to wake an angry one does not just do that. I don't know. I think honestly part of that is probably like they weren't like taking it serious. Like they're like, oh, whatever. Because like, oh, you know, like I don't know if I'm them, I'm thinking like we're the best still. Like I'm not worried about it. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, like I think it does come down to Showtime. Like if the Showtime shows up, that the one that beat Beyond at BlizzCon, or not Beyond. I'm sorry. Well, no, did he beat Beyond?
Yeah, he beat Beyond. He 2-0'd Beyond.
Right, that was how did that work? Did Beyond go to a lower bracket? How did that end up working?
Well, yeah, that was in the group stage.
Okay.
Got first out of his group.
That's right. That's what I'm thinking of. Because I mean, the dude was playing out of his mind at that point. And then was it when he beat Zest? He had a weird composition. He was like he had High Templar, he had Disruptors, and then he also had Tempest all at the same time, like controlling all of them. Like he had them all in separate control groups. Like the dude was just playing like insane.
Oh yeah, that's like when he played versus Beyond, he had like Colossi, Disruptor, High Templar, like Blink Stalker. Yeah, he was just like controlling everything flawlessly. Yeah, it was like, what am I watching? I
know. Like if that Showtime shows up, like 100%, he could definitely like beat Korea. But you're right. Like Korea has more depth though. Like I'm afraid of like any one of those Koreans could like literally all kill Germany.
Yeah, it's like I think Hero Marine and TLO are very good players, but I'm not sure if they have like a good shot at beating anyone on Korea's roster. Like I think it will probably come down to Germany needing Showtime to all kill.
I mean, I could see TLO beating Zest, obviously with Zest like showing as of late. And like just overwhelming him. And if like I don't know, like Dario's like obviously like super good, so like I wouldn't count him out. But like Hero Marine, I definitely think is like the like weakest one in the bracket. Like if I'm then, I'm probably gonna go Hero Marine first, TLO, and then send out Showtime, and then revive Showtime. Like that's
I think like Zest's recent losses were against Terrans too, so I think he might be right against the Zerg.
Yeah, I think Zest more than anything probably just has a mental block in that matchup because like he said in an interview, he's like he thinks he's like totally lost in it. He doesn't really know what he's doing.
You should just do the toast build, man. You just do a 5-gate yellow all in, and it works. Like It's like 5 gates. Then you also build a robo to get an observer in case there's widow mines. Like, it's got everything, but got like a 90% win rate with that on ladder. So 90% of the time it works every time.
There you go.
Except for I cannot beat Zerg, so I'm like the opposite. But yeah, what do you think about some of these countries being knocked out? Like, I know we were talking earlier, like before we started,
Norway.
like I think Norway was a surprise.
Well,
Mexico played their asses off, like
Yeah, Mexico was doing super
yeah,
well.
that was one of the really cool stories, right?
majored
Yeah.
at least.
And then France getting it knocked out before even the bracket stage is pretty surprising.
Yeah, because that was one of those like countries that had a really deep roster, and I feel like if they could
Yeah.
have moved a little bit further on, they might have had a chance.
Well, we want to talk about rosters. Like, let's talk about the controversy that is Nathanius representing the U.S. So, and I'm not a Nate hater. I actually voted for Nate to represent America. But I think after they lost in the group stage, they should have brought in Jon Snow just like as like a more accomplished. Well, not maybe not even more accomplished, but like at a higher level, like a higher GM player. Like, Nate's good at memeing. Nate's not necessarily good like when it comes to playing pros. So I don't know. Like, I wish Nate could have just been the face of the team, and then just let those guys play it out. I think that would have been our best shot to like get deep. But
Yeah, I definitely see both sides there. Where like at the same time, the reason Nation Wars has it as a vote to begin with is because they want the more popular players coming in, because then more people are going to tune in and watch. But at the same time, it's like you want Team USA to do well. You want us to have the best roster possible. You want us to like sweep through everyone else.
No way. I want Neeb to, just like you have an Olympic athlete get stronger by putting more weight on their back. I want Neeb to literally have to carry the entire American team and plant the American flag on the top of the Nation Wars like mound, you know. But maybe next year.
Yeah, Shavy couldn't do it this time. It's kind of funny because like it was at beginning of last summer. He played Scarlet in like 2 series and like beat her quite handily both times. And then ever since then, it's like she's had his number.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a good point.
they both play to their ton. I mean, she just got him figured out at this point. He's got to come up with some new strats here, I guess. But okay, the other thing I wanted to talk about with Nation Wars here too was, what do you think of like the countries that didn't have enough players to get in? Like, I kind of think like that they should, like, for those countries, allow like a lower level player to get in, just so that they can compete. Like, yeah, like it kind of sucks, and like that lower player is going to lose. But I don't think like someone like Pili Pili should have to sit out because Kazakhstan doesn't have 3 GM players.
Yeah, it's like if it's just like one GM player and then no one else that even comes anywhere close, then I don't think they should probably have a roster. But if you have 2 GMs and a master, I say like, that's probably good enough.
Well, what would you guys think about like if they can and I know it's Nation Wars, but like if like some countries were able to combine, like let's say like again like let's say you got 2 GMs, but then like Pili Pili is like the only GM in Kazakhstan, like why can't they like form like a group team as long as they're cool with it?
Yeah, if it's 2 smaller regions with like geographical closeness, then I think that's something that should really be looked at. Like,
Okay,
just, like,
so maybe it's like maybe as long as they're like in the same continent or something, like as long as they're close.
Like, chances are half the people watching won't even know that they're actually different.
Right, they could just say
Some
that.
enjoying thing.
At least all the American viewers, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I just feel bad for some of those players. Like I said, I mean, like I wish they had an opportunity to compete. Like it's a huge tournament that a ton of people watch and it's really fun.
Yeah.
I feel bad that they can't compete just because there aren't other people in their region that are as good. So that's just my opinion on it. So I just wanted to, like I said, just kind of get your guys' slice on that. They were talking about that on natural expansion, and that my idea got shit all over. Those guys hated that idea, but I still think it's valid. I still think it's valid for what it's worth. So I don't know. But yeah. So anyway, so we're going back into the bracket then. So we got Poland, Canada. I think Poland's gonna win, and I think South Korea is gonna win when it comes down to it. And then I think Poland, South Korea again could just be one of those coin flips where it's like you never know. It depends on how well they play. Like a Laser. Laser is also one of the best Zergs. Like we saw him get really deep, like in BlizzCon. I mean, he's very accomplished. He's been doing super well lately. So I have a hard time counting him out.
I think that South Korea is taking it more seriously this year. Without the teams, these players need these wins, I think, a little bit more. So I think I'm going to go ahead and say they take it a lot more handily than they have previously.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to be putting a lot of focus into this. I think they'll definitely sweep through Germany. I think they would probably beat Poland by a close score, but I think Canada could beat them in another rematch. Just because, like, Scarlett looked so good versus both the Korean Terrans. Like,
Yeah.
I think she's just so good in that matchup right now that if they can squeeze through Poland, then I think they have a very good shot at beating South Korea, which would be really cool if we had like 2 non-Korean champions in 2 back-to-back years.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would like that as well. You know, obviously I like all the Team Canada people, so it would be nice to see them win. But yeah, I think that's all we have for Nation Wars. Unless you guys wanted to bring up anything else. You got anything?
Nope, we covered it all.
All right, well, let's move on to everyone's favorite tournament, GSL. We'll talk over what is it, Group A and Group B, and then was it Group C as well?
Yeah, Group C just happened today.
Right. La Cucaracha.
But let's talk about like the folks that made it. I mean, because we didn't have the Code A this year,
Oh.
so that was a big change to the format of the tournament. What do you guys think?
I think it's sad that Code A is not a thing like this season. Like, especially like, I mean, it's one thing to not like televise it, but just another altogether just to not have it, I think kind of sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree with that.
I kind of like to talk about, comparing this stuff to other sports. We talk about nation wars and picking the players kind of being like the Ryder Cup in golf. I think with this, it kind of reminds me of like the preseason in football, and nobody watches the preseason. I think with GSL, it's a little bit different because everybody loves this tournament, but I think they are struggling a little bit with getting the money there. And if this helps them with that, and it makes it so that when they do have the games that they're more watched and more money, I think it's good. But yeah, it is kind of a shame to not have that broadcast at all, especially the qualifiers, if they're not going to have the Code A.
Yeah, I think with the new format this year, someone did the breakdown that we have ever so slightly more GSL broadcasts this year, but I mean, like, if you consider that we don't have SSL at all either, then it's like significantly less overall. But it's like with the 2 super tournaments and like the other thing, then there's like about as many GSL broadcasts as we had before.
Sure.
There's just no Code A.
Like I said, I still think it's a bummer just that it's not happening though, because so we had Pet on last time, and like Pet's really good, and I just feel bad because like right now he's just streaming and stuff, and like that's all he's got. Like that's all he's like playing for. Like he's still got to keep up, obviously because like the next one isn't going to be as far away, as they previously have been. But at the same time, it's like, like you know how it is. Like when you play in tournament, when you play in ladder, it's not the same thing at all.
Yeah, well, if he would have gotten to Code A and gotten eliminated like super early on, it would have been the same thing.
Well, sure, but I mean, it's a different opportunity at least. Like at least he could have, still won Code A, and then it's like, okay, well, I still was practicing. I'm still, studying. I'm still, in that mindset of like tournament format. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think your brain works different when you're competing like in that when you're at Jay. What do you think when you're at a tournament versus just laddering at home? Do you feel like you have different mindsets?
Oh, totally. It's like, yeah, tournaments are so much more motivated. Like win or lose, a tournament match. It kind of goes like tournament match and then like online tournament or like clan war or something like that, and then just like ladder. It's like I lose a ladder game, I'm like, whatever. Maybe I get frustrated. I lose like a team league match and I get like upset and I go ladder. I lose in a tournament and I'm like, wow, I really need to reevaluate something and like work on this.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I agree. Let's see. So did we want to go over who did qualify in general here for Zilly? Is that what you wanted to go through?
I mean, that's a lot to go over. I think we should just, maybe say
any
a lot of Terrans this time, which is cool because we haven't had that previously. Maybe just like, key players that are interesting that made it, players that like Keen. We haven't seen him in there in a while.
I think Youngsik is interesting since he was like, I'm going to go play Overwatch, but I'm also going to play StarCraft.
Yeah, still qualified.
Yeah, I think that's kind of funny. Bunny, who is now a part of Dusking, which is an American team, so that's kind of cool that we have some sort of weird association with America in GSL besides Scarlet.
Yeah,
a lot of
GRG, Ling, Armani, and the biggest story is certainly Scarlet.
Yeah, well, I mean, she had a joke of a bracket to get in. I'm not downselling Scarlet's talent, but a lot of people could have got in with that bracket. That was not a tough bracket to get in. So that's all I'm going to say about it. I don't want to offend anyone. I know everyone's a really, big Scarlet fan.
Can't take it back. It's the internet.
I also think that's kind of a shame though, because like Scarlett is truly looking at what I think is like the best form in her life now. Like I think she could have gotten another bracket.
Oh,
And-
for sure. And like I said, I don't want to downplay her skill. I'm just saying, like, a lot of people could have got through with that bracket. You know, like.
No, I think it's true, and I think when you talk about some of the foreigners and the way that the way that the Koreans look at them, I think that when you look at Neve and like especially now Scarlett, that the foreigners are looking at them as taking them like as a very serious opponent. So I think it's really cool, and I think like you said, it's a shame that she had to go through that way because it would have been cooler to see it be a more impressive, like meaningful thing. But hey, there's a chance to prove it upcoming, so
Oh yeah.
that's the good part of it.
On that note, it's like I think all the GSL groups this season they all look super close. Like there's not one of them where I wouldn't be surprised at certain players making it out or getting fourth place.
Right.
Like,
As we've seen so far, it's hard to call. So let's go into Group A, man.
So starting with Group A, we had Biani. Biani.
Wow.
Biani. I got Biani on the
Hey
mind,
man, no, that's the meme right there.
That's
he was playing like Bjorn, huh?
That's true. That is true.
At least with the multitasking.
He was. He was playing like godly, like especially in those games. So we had Bunny, Keen, Zest, and Rogue, and then we had Bunny move through 2-0. Or was it match score 2? Yeah. And then we had Keen move through, and then Zest and Rogue falling out. So, we were already talking about Zest and his poor form, and that just kind of continues. Like, and it's kind of a shame, right? Like, Zest, man, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I gotta work on this. Like, I gotta get him over to the house. I gotta show him some of my strats, I guess. Like, if you got a cheese to win, just do it. Like, I don't know.
Well, what he got famous for was doing that like proxy oracle into fast 3 base kind of thing. But it's just not. The game's kind of different now. And with Terran, I think he said that he feels like he's really struggling in the matchup, and I think a lot of Protoss definitely are with the matchup. But it seems like just what he does isn't what he feels the most comfortable with is not good in the game right now, which is kind of getting a big massive economy. A lot of people are going for like that fast Colossus, and it doesn't seem like that suits him well. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of got unlucky getting in a group with 2 Terrans, maybe not 2 of the best Terrans though. So I think it shows that just how much he is struggling in that matchup because he got eliminated, against all Terrans.
Yeah, I think you show most people this group, like people that like might not be like totally 100% up with the scene, and they would probably pick Zest and Rogue to get out just because the two of them have so much more name recognition than the other two, and it's not because of like personality or anything. It's because they've been historically really good players.
Yeah.
So Bunny making it out was kind of a surprise to me because he's like historically had really really good Terran versus Zerg, but like he made it out over Zest, which I think probably says more about Zest's form than Bunny's form.
Yeah. Well, one thing too is last time we talked to former Liquid Hero, Revolution Hero, we asked him like who's kind of tearing it up right now, and he said Bunny. Like I'm like who's playing like the best like top of their level right now and stuff, and he's like Bunny. Bunny is like playing like out of his mind, and I thought that was really surprising, and that's when we were on that break, but apparently he has just been like training like nonstop, and it's showing like he's playing like insanely well. So kudos to him for sure, Biani.
Biani, getting it done.
So.
For sure, but I thought it was kind of it just goes to show about Zest too. Like he was going for a lot of cheeky builds there. Trying some cheese, a lot of DT stuff, and I think it just goes that he doesn't feel comfortable doing the same stuff that he was doing, and I think it's like something a lot of Protosses are talking about. I don't know. Have you heard a lot of Protoss wine, Raze from the?
Oh yeah. It's I think it's like I hate to be the person that says this, but I really think we should give some time to let the meta settle because we had Cyclones getting range buff back, which makes them stronger as Protoss, which is the reason you can do things like proxy 1/1/1 where you get a react on the barracks and you push with like Marine Cyclone meta back. And then we also have like the tank buff means that like it's just you can't move them around anymore, but you just have so much more stronger solid pushing potential if you're going with these timings versus Protoss. And so I think like we've already seen some things like Heroes had a lot of success versus Terran just by playing like ridiculously cheesy and making sure that the Terran can never really hit these timings that they're like used to and drilled into, because like if you throw them off their game early, then like just don't have to worry about that stuff later on. Nothing's optimized. And then we've also seen I think like because the big thing is the Terran opens with gas first double what a mind drop. If the Protoss just plays like Robo or Twilight or something, you just go and do a 2-tank push with like Stim, Combat Shield +1, and like a big thing at the front where it's very difficult to hold the third. And if they go Stargate, you just do the same thing, but instead of tanks, you have Wood of Mines and a couple Liberators. And so like the thing we've been seeing some people doing is they go like Oracle into like Colossus within kind of a later third. So then the push comes and you have like 2 Colossi out with range, and it's like the Terran has the Wood of Mines and the Liberator because they saw that you were going Stargate, and then you can just kind of like deal with the push pretty easily. I'm not sure if that's going to be something that sticks around or if that's going to be phased out in the meta, but I think Protoss will like adapt if you give them time.
Yeah. Well, I think that's. Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna say I think that's something we saw Showtime kind of bring in was that early Colossus, like kind of start like using that Colossus play a lot more, because for a while they like just it wasn't even being used. It was all like Blink Stalker Disruptor, kind of that play like in every matchup, like it just kind of worked, And then once that started kind of being figured out, I feel like he was one of the ones that really adopted getting early Colossus back in, and then getting that the range first. Just because it is so essential. Because if you get a good Colossus count, that's pretty hard to combat. Like unless you have like a decent amount of Vikings or any other anti-air, like that can be a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah, I gotta get a little ladder frustration out right here. I think tanks are pretty damn strong. But yeah, I think you're right in saying they need some time. Figure out other ways to work with it before it's like an immediate knee-jerk reaction to just nerf or buff things.
Although I think they need to bring back the vision for the adepts. Just saying.
Yeah, like I really did think the Adept needed something to be done to it, but I don't like the direction they went with the vision nerf, just because like that hurts the scouting, which means that the Protoss player is like kind of totally in the dark, and it's like then it becomes a coin flip of can they figure out what you're doing or can they not? Because if they can figure it out, usually they can hold it off fine, and if they can't, they just die.
Maybe they should have just shortened the amount of time like the shade lasts, like instead of like having it last as long as it does, maybe just like shorten that.
Oh, that's cool.
I never really thought about that until just now, really.
I was thinking of just
why would that work?
Increasing the cooldown on it so you can't bounce back. And
that too. I mean, that would, that too, for sure. But I think it is kind of necessary, like, especially now, like, when you're trying to break, like, a Terran, like, coming from a Protoss point of view, like, that's something that's super helpful, is if you can shade on top of those tanks,
that is true. Like, you get so much time to kind of, like, try to position those adepts perfectly.
Yeah. So I think that's vital.
Yeah, sorry to bring up the balance thing. We're talking about the GSL, but I just thought after that, seeing Zest get like knocked out of that group, it was worth bringing up.
Well, we were talking about
like having ways to break a Terran. One good way to do it is blinking DTs, right?
Oh,
so let's talk about Group E.
I think that's the first time we've actually seen it like in like a high profile thing too. Like I've never even researched it like in a game. So
no, and I've never seen it. I've watched a good amount of StarCraft, never seen it done before, and we saw it happen in a GSL Code S game with Nightmare bringing it out, and that was fun. I mean, it was a shame because he got denied, right? Yeah. We were watching this game and it was like, oh, Riders was about to complete, it got dropped, and then went from the same build in the second game and ended up being effective.
Second game, it just rolled over Gumiho. Like I was actually watching the second game live, and so I see him like go up to the base with the Warp Prism, warp in units, and he's about to go for it. I'm like, this is gonna get completely shut down. There's like 20 Marines and 3 siege tanks. Like this isn't gonna do anything. Right? But he just like rolled it, like was not even close.
Oh man, that was awesome.
Well, if you get them, get the timings right, and you can use them, then I guess it's viable. Yeah. What is the saying? It's not stupid if it works. What's that, Zilly?
That's one way to hold the tank push. So yeah, I'm excited.
It works. But yeah, so in that group we had, if you guys didn't know, we had, for those watching, obviously, Mario, Hero, that's former CJ Hero, Nightmare and Gumiho, and then Nightmare. I don't think anyone was surprised to see him go out. I mean, just being like a lesser name. Like, I mean, that's like, he hasn't had like a lot of showing and stuff. But kudos to him for qualifying, I suppose. But I don't think it was a surprise. But I think Gumiho is a surprise. I actually like. I don't know. Maybe that's just because like I'm an old boy, and I remember like when he first came in and was like tearing shit up with his towel,
Especially because he was that guy that you think of being one of those mech players, like goes mech against Protoss, and then with the Cyclone, that was kind of his thing, right? Like he was the one bringing that out, and I think that's some of the stuff that more folks are doing now. So I thought that he might have some good results. It certainly wasn't like shocking that Nightmare got eliminated here, but I'm surprised he made it to third, and Gumiho was eliminated without winning any of his matches. That was pretty shocking in my opinion.
Yeah, I was actually impressed by how Nightmare played overall. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously he beat Gumiho, pulling out some really weird stuff that just like looks so cool. But then his series vs Hero is actually just like they're pretty close games, like both of
Yeah, they
them.
were.
Like he definitely had times where he could have won the game. It kind of reminded me of like a lot of things when I see players that are like on the verge of being like really really good. It's like they create these opportunities for themselves, but then sometimes they don't necessarily know how to follow through and like fully like win based off the back of that. But like
Yeah.
Nightmare was playing really well in that series.
No, I agree. And it gets tough when you get to late game PvP. One mistake
yeah.
and it's all over.
Yeah. You know, I mean, Mario and Hero winning though is not surprising. You look at that group and it's like, well, for sure you think one of the others is going to definitely get through. So, and then unfortunately for Gomeo, he just wound up on the bottom of that bracket.
Yeah. Rip.
Kind of a bummer. The other thing I wanted to talk about that I know some people don't even realize it's going on, but there's actually like a losers tournament going on, and I want to say it's on Crank's channel. And it's like best of sevens. Like the loser comes in and they fight like who's ever like the last winner. It's kind of like a King of the Hill kind of thing. And as far as I know, that's just going to keep happening like during this GSL. Like whoever loses is just going to get an opportunity to play, and they're just going to keep cycling through. And I want to say it's like best of sevens too. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely something that's worth checking out for sure. And like I said, I'm like 90% sure it's on Crank's channel.
Yeah, if anything, that'll show us like just how different these groups can be. Like if it turns out someone that lost in one group just like absolutely annihilates all the losers of the other group, you'd be like, oh, maybe that was actually the group of death. Because it can be kind of hard to tell now, just because we have had this long break, so we haven't seen these players play as much.
Yeah. And I don't know what's the prize pool on it too, because depending whether or not folks take it seriously. But yeah, that is a good opportunity.
Are you talking about for the other one?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not for sure. I don't know what they're playing for.
Yeah, we'll have to look into it and we'll talk about it next week. But yeah, we had Group C, which was just earlier today, so spoilers for people who weren't able to watch that. But that was some really fun games for sure and some interesting play.
Yes.
I was excited about that. Sue looking really, really strong. It was Sue, SOS, Billowy, and Curious following up in that order. So Sue went 2-0, SOS 2-1, Billowy looked really, really strong. And, he ended up going 1-2 in that. And had played some really, really good PvP matches, showing us like really solid play. It was funny because they're talking about how well he had done in the the Olima League.
Yeah.
It gets hosted over there on Bait Trade, and I haven't seen that, but he's one of those players that you always see playing in those online cups for Korea, and apparently it's working for him because he looked about as solid as you can look to me.
Yeah, that must be so heartbreaking for him because like he 2-0'd SOS and then he was one game from advancing in first. Like he was up 1 over Sue, and then he just loses to him and then loses 1-2 in the decider match to SOS.
Yeah. And he ends up getting thrown into the SOS like tunnel of mirrors. With stray clowns on it.
Yeah, with clowns on bungee cords and there's fire in the background. You realize you're not a 9-year-old anymore and you don't have to be scared. That was some of the best commentary I think we've seen in a while from those two.
Tasteless was on today, let me tell you what.
Oh my god, La Cucaracha.
That was so good, yeah.
I did not see that coming when he threw that in during the translations. Oh my god, dude. Those guys, god, fuck, they're so funny. The other day I was talking on Twitter, I was talking about passion. And it was something that Tesla had said the other, or was it from either today or the other day? But he was like talking about like, yeah, nerds, like stamp collectors and stuff. And I was talking about how I had passion, and someone had tweeted me a quote that Artosis had said, and it's like, you don't get to choose what you're passionate about. And then I responded to that with, well, I was passionate about stamps till Tasteless made fun of me about it.
That's right.
So
that's pretty funny. They were bringing it hard today. I was loving that. And Sue was bringing it hard. I was really impressed by his play.
I mean,
against any Terrans, I guess, which is kind of nice, but still played really well.
I mean, between the two that got out, Sue and SOS, I mean, that's who I picked to get out. I mean, that really wasn't all that surprising. But yeah, like we were saying, I think the surprising thing was how well Billowy, did play.
Yeah.
Like he
I'm
played.
excited to see him moving forward. It's like seeing your rookie player start to develop and become the star.
Well, he's been around for a long time, but he's just not had, these top finishes like these others have. He just hasn't, been able to like break through that wall.
Yep.
And yeah, I guess that's slowly becoming a thing now. So I don't know, it's impressive. I like it.
Yeah, it'd be really good if he could hold that up going forward. I think it's like weird to see Sue doing so poorly versus Terran and so well in the other matchups, though. Just because like versus Terran right now is like the game's super stale and figured out, and it seems to just come down mostly to mechanics. So you'd think that'd be like his major strong suit, and yet he's like just doing so much better in the other matchups. So I guess he's adapted his play style, which is really good.
He seems to have really good reactionary play style. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like he had like really nice builds. I don't know. It was really cool. But yeah, I think that's all we have for GSL news. Unless again, you guys have anything else you would like to add?
Just for the upcoming group, I think anyone could get out of that. That's could be insanely close because I think Innovation lost 1-3 to Losira in the finals of some online tournament. I forget which, but that was just like a week or two ago. And he also like played him in IEM Gyeonggi, where they had a 2-1 series where the 2 games Innovation won looked super one-sided, but the game Losira won also looked incredibly one-sided. And Forte is kind of like the wild card in this group. And then Bial is just like on fire right now. He's doing super well. Like
I know that's like the guy you got to watch out for here, but the way these games have been going so far, it's kind of hard to call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I of course like to get out. And between like Bial and Lucia, like Bial's been doing really good, and like Lucia's like that name that it's got like that star power because like he's known for doing well and stuff. So I think that's hard, but I think I would think Bial. I would take Bial and Innovation to move forward. Forte, a longtime Code A player. We saw a little bit of him in the VSL team league that they did. I couldn't tell you which team he played on. I don't remember, but
he actually played super well in that, like because that was like one of the series Innovation all killed. And Forte actually threw that game pretty hard. Like he managed to get like this giant lead, and then it was just like 10 minutes of Innovation slowly getting it back.
Right. Well, like I said, I think that was one of the first times we actually saw like good showings from Forte, and was like, okay, maybe this guy's pretty good. Kind of like with Pat, like when we saw him like at Kespa Cup, where it's like, holy crap, like who's this guy? Like coming up. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to watching both those guys play more, and then hopefully qualify for. Get back in here, of course, because I think again Forte is going to lose out, but hopefully
it's nice having those games on a time like when it's normal to watch too.
Yeah, what is it? It's going to be awesome. Tomorrow night, right? Friday night for us. It's like 10 o'clock, or maybe 11 for Jay. Well, it's different for all of us. We're all in 3 different time zones, so that doesn't help. But yeah, I think it's on at Friday. It's like Friday night. Like for me, I think it's 10 o'clock for Jay. I think it's 11, and for you, it's like whatever.
I thought it was Saturday, but.
Well, it's Saturday for them.
Oh, okay. So
it's Friday for us.
I see.
Yeah, now you're picking up what I'm throwing down. Time zones, they're fun. Yeah. They're tough.
I know, right? Like last week with Park. Oh my god.
But yeah, man, I think that's all we have. You guys got anything else?
No, I didn't catch anything from the news. So if there's anything that the chat wanted to bring up, if anybody's hanging out in there.
Yeah, we can take some chat questions, see if these guys got anything to meme us about.
Or anything related to the team. The new team stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think we didn't miss too much as far as like other news. Like I don't think too much is we haven't already like talked about really. Oh, we have Total Biscuits thing coming up.
So somebody about WESG.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about WSG. It's stupid.
We meant to throw that in there, too, and I totally forgot about it.
Yeah.
That's going to be exciting, because that's a big money tournament,
Yeah.
According to Aligulac, the first group starts in 52 seconds.
Yeah, actually, I just realized that. I got the Star Sense alert on that. I don't know if Jay, do you use Star Sense?
Yeah, every now and then.
Okay. So I actually like it for A, because it's fun, because obviously, like, the betting and stuff, like the brackets. But no, I like it as like the reminder because I get like the alert like an hour before. I'm like, it's like, oh, this is starting out. It's like, oh shit, I forgot about that. It's like a good little reminder actually. So, well, we'll have to finish up here pretty quick so we can all hop out over and watch. Should I host it? I mean,
so Raze, why is your favorite race Zerg?
My favorite race is not Zerg. My favorite race is Protoss because I can win without trying very hard at all. Like my Protoss, I've gotten GM with it like twice now. I think I just kind of like I mean, I study, I figure out what I'm doing, learn from my mistakes, but it's like the amount of mechanical effort I'm putting in is like almost non-existent. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's just true. You don't need as much APM as Protoss,
I guess one thing I was going to ask you too is like, what does it mean to you to be like the captain of the team too? Like, what kind of like pressure does that put on you at all, if any?
Well, it's kind of interesting because like I feel like almost every team in NA has like a captain, but most of them it's just like to be there to have like a crown next to their name. Actually, try to like kind of do stuff and make sure like I'm kind of the intermediary between like the manager and the players, like trying to make sure that everyone can be there for like tournaments or matches or clan wars, that everyone's like good to go, and I'm the one that's like usually keeping tabs on the players, seeing like making sure everyone's up to like the level they should be at, and so that way I can like kind of pick who goes out in clan wars and like, oh, this guy's doing really well, you should put him out now.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you feel like that's a lot of responsibility, or do you kind of take it in stride?
It's not like a huge amount of responsibility. It's kind of like a position where it's like I can make of it whatever I want to. Like if I wanted to do nothing at all, I could do that, and probably no one would even notice. But like if I can do what I want. Like if I feel like being super involved, that I can. And
remember, your sponsors are watching right now, so.
Oh yeah.
I love it. Number one, thanks. Okay. Yeah, like I said, that's all I had. Why don't you give a shout out to your sponsors here, Jay? Let everyone know where they can contact you at.
Yeah, number one obviously being Sloth Esports. Recently picked up our whole organization. That's been really awesome. Got this awesome jacket from that. They sell, of course, obviously, main thing is mouse pads. They're really awesome. I got one at my second cheesadelphia, and I just started using it because the guy gave it to me for free, and then I just kept using it because it was better than my other one. They're like really, really good. And then obviously like our partners, Discord. And me personally, you can find me at twitch.tv/Raze79. I've been trying to stream, but like I was prepping for cheesadelphia, and then now I'm kind of like I'm getting sick, so I don't really have much passion for that.
Gotcha.
And
yeah, it's hard to keep
I'll do my best to stream when I get back to school. And then you can, and my Twitter is RazeSC2. I usually give updates on streaming. There are some memes in there every now and then.
Yeah, I threw that one up for you on the overlay too. So yeah, everyone can contact Raze at RazeSC2. You can contact us at Dank Shrine. I don't know how that, honestly, that Twitter handle was available, or the Twitch channel for that matter. I don't know how either of those were magically available, but I'll take it. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, guys. We really appreciate that. If you're watching this video later on YouTube, leave a comment, hit the like button. We appreciate that. It really does help. And again, there's that swag button at the bottom. If you want to just check those out. I mean, like I said, if you want to support us 100%, awesome. Don't have to. Sloth Esports, we could definitely pick you up as a sponsor. I mean, we would love to rep your gear. I would love to have that Sloth like on my shirt. I would wear it happily.
Sloth. There you go.
If you guys have a Sloth, like wherever the office is, I would love to meet it. I mean, that's a dream of mine is to.
There is a Sloth. It's,
is there?
Yeah,
there's not a mascot.
No. I think it's like part of their proceeds go to support the Sloth.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Oh, dude, I just love sloths. I don't know who it is, and this is stupid, but there's like that one. It's whoever Dak Shepard's married to, like Kristen something or other, and she's like obsessed with sloths. You'd have to look it up. And there's a video where like she comes home and she just breaks down crying, and he's like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "There's a sloth in the house. I can just feel it." And there was. It was fucking weird. He's like, "What the fuck? Like, how did she know?" Oh man! But I want to hold a sloth so bad. Like watching those videos of cheesadelphia, man, they're so cute. Like I just want one.
Oh my god!
Like they make bad pets though. Well, that's all for us, guys, for this week of the Dank Train. Be sure to tune in next week again. Our guest will be Zombie Grub from Base Trade TV. So very hype on that. Look for our updates on Team Liquid as well. Follow us on there. You can communicate with us, and then you can also communicate with us again via the